Oh, hello. We are settling in for what I think will be, hopefully, God's willing, the final night. We're setting out to defeat the biggest boss in this game right now, which is this beard. It was a terrible decision to continue the tradition of not shaving until the MSQ is over and slowly becoming a bigger grizzled caveman mess in a pile of empty cans and snacks. Terrible. So I think in addition to this being the end of the Heidelin and Zodiac journey, this is going to be the last, the last time we do this. We're going to need a new tradition. So where we left off is we were coming back to Charleon and getting ready to head out to the new final area, which remains unidentified, but I think Forshno is like telling us the name Ultima Thule. Maybe. Let's just find out. Friends gathered. Or look like a boy band. You look like a boy band boy who's given up on his dreams. That's about how I feel. That's accurate. That's pretty close. Yeah. You'll notice that emote-only chat has been disabled for this final run because I have officially run out of VIP slots, and I thought maybe our time would be better spent doing content than trying to micromanage. So let's all just follow the rules of be kind to each other and no spoilies on story o'clock. Yeah, like I might even just like leave during the credits, like go shave during the credits. I feel like in a way it's an inversion because I spent most of my like late teens, early 20s trying to grow a pathetic goatee like now I look older, and then I felt a little behind of where I should have been and I was going through my college career for some stupid reason. And I was like, no, let's shave so we look younger. Someday I'll come back around and be at some place in my career where I'm like, let's grow beards so we're taken more seriously. But not today. Not today. Going by how patchy this thing's coming in, I'm thinking like maybe 40. Maybe by then I'll try it again. Let's see, who's eating what over here? Oh, they got the pizza. Okay, so Yashtola's got a salad. A salad and booze. Dancred is apparently like me. We got just like bread. Bread. Who's got the mushrooms and cheese platter? The deepest lore. Oh, curse the
Your
Q
business
gods
with
for that.
Chitauri was finished. My, what a thoughtful surprise. Whatever would we do without her?
Indeed. And she's right, you know. It hasn't been all doom and gloom.
Feels like a lifetime ago that Master Louis Soir gathered us together to form the Circle of Knowing. Since then, we have experienced much. But rather than feeling wiser, the more I learn, the more I find my knowledge lacking.
Forsooth. As a student, vainly did I believe that I held the secrets of creation in my grasp. Yet that which I had seized was but an insignificant sliver of what awaited in the wider world. Every encounter, every experience hath served to open mine eyes, enlightening and humbling me in equal measure. Even from those whom I called enemies have I learned many a valuable lesson.
What will we learn at the edge of the universe, I wonder?
Ultima Thule, where the bringer of the end makes her nest. I, for one, can't possibly imagine. But whatever awaits us there, we will survive. We must. For her.
Is aught the matter?
No, it's nothing. Well, lately I find myself surprised at how much I've changed. How much we've all changed.
We've come far together, and if we have aught to say about it, we'll go further still. Aye, we will avert this calamity and return home. In preparation for which, we must give thought to what we hope to achieve after the proverbial dust has settled.
What with the primals and Ascians all but dealt with, I suppose we'll need to look for new hobbies. In all seriousness, though, in uniting to overcome a common foe, the disparate peoples of the world have found a way forward together. It's a truly gratifying sight to see.
Indeed. Though it was many years in the making, we have successfully set in motion the gears of fundamental change. With this, we have fulfilled our humble role as a symbol of hope. And I dare say it is time to bow out. After all, there is no shortage of hands to bear the torch in our stead.
You know, I never really considered I might live long enough to see an after. But even if my time as a scion came to an end, I don't expect that much will change. Traveling the world, going wherever the wind blows, lending a hand to those in need.
A journey for journey's sake. It doth suit thee well. I must confess I too have yearned to see more of the world. If thou art amenable to the suggestion, I would accompany thee. Mine ability to affect an air of normalcy through artful disguise is much improved, thou must concede.
Aye, well, improvement is relative. You still look suspicious no matter what you wear. What of you, Ishdola? Any grand plans?
Why, continue my quest for knowledge naturally. To begin with, I wish to know the state of the reflections, to which end I must find a means to travel between worlds. 'Tis the least I must do if I am to keep my promise. Should my pursuits prove unduly arduous, I won't hesitate to call on you. And in return, I will take you to see Reen one day. I'm sure you cannot wait to see the fine young woman she has become.
Spare me.
And what of thee? What wouldst thou pursue at duty's end?
Fishing. Big fishing. Big fishing.
Here's yours. My apologies for the wait.
No problem.
Well, shall we make a toast? To victory.
To our comrades.
To the future of the star.
I've imagined a lot of scenes like that taking place, but this is like I'm glad to see one. Like, it's playing out kind of like it does in my head, and that makes me happy. So yeah, lots and lots of thoughts again. First, sorry for your queue, Eve. Terrible. Like, that's one of the only frustrating things about it. Like, I can understand the demand that they're under and the crisis of trying to satisfy that demand with the servers that they have, because I mean, like, the servers are pretty stable, there's just not enough of them. But the fact that the packet loss punishment is so severe that you fear even getting up to go to the bathroom or get a snack, like, that's really, really rough. Like, that happened to me today too. I got up for like 10 minutes and completely lost my place. So I'm sorry to hear it. Yes, Tonal, we're planning on finishing the MSQ today. That is the plan. Whether things go to plan, that's up to fate. We'll see. Ninzard, I have done the math enough times to conclude that Y'shtola is between the ages of 31 and 33, based on when she went into Matoya's care, how old she was when she came out of Matoya's care, how long she spent in Matoya's care, and the fact that she was an adult enough to go on the pilgrimage in 1562 to the city-states. Personally, I like to conclude that she's 32, because that makes her the same age as Thancred, and it's 23 reversed, and the joke has always been, like, imply she looks a day older than 23 and watch what happens to you. One thing that caught me off guard here was... Well, actually, I'll say the thing I liked was that she was kind of, like, hinting, wouldn't this be a great time to retire? There's this whole JV squad who can take our place, and yes! Let me allow you guys to take a well-deserved rest and go do what you want to do with your lives, because we've got Hori, Boulder, and Coltana, and Owly, and, like, we've got all these people we can learn about. And not have to try to force even more exposition about you guys in here. But Y'shtola just casually commenting that her end goal is to open Shard Omni Travel? Whew. Oriange is so drunk he's claiming to see doubling magics. Yeah, I'm also one of the people who interpreted the 5.0 cutscenes as that she would have stayed with Runar given the opportunity, but wasn't allowing herself to think about it because she had other stuff to do. That she kind of just closed herself off to the possibility and moved on because she felt that it was her duty, but that she would go back if she had a chance. I don't count the time that they spent in the first for their age. The game went through elaborate excuse making to justify them not aging physically on the source, so I just don't count it. Because everything in the first is so insular in storytelling wise. So I count the biological, and I know there are some people who like wanna split hairs and count the spiritual age, and that's cool. But I keep it simple and don't put it on their main biography. I just tally up the time they spent in the time bubble.
Oh. Knowing them, they're probably dreaming about the celestial adventures to come. Just as well. They've been running themselves ragged of late. Unlike you and the others, I'm a few steps removed from the danger and excitement. The things you all get up to never fail to impress me. But by the same token, I can't help but worry. Not only for your safety, but for your happiness. After everything you've sacrificed, you earned it 1,000 times over. From the simple pleasures of tucking into a hearty meal or collapsing into a comfortable bed, to the grand triumphs of visiting legendary lands or finding true love. You deserve all the joy in the world. There is so much that life has to offer, so much to be treasured and shared with those we hold dear. So promise me this. Come what may, you won't give up on your own happiness. When you're out there fighting tooth and nail, it's all too easy to forget. But in the end, your passions will be your greatest strength of all. Remember that.
This feels familiar. Well, 'tis good to be... wait. What am I... gods, don't tell me I fell asleep.
Not that there's any shame in it, but you were sleeping like babies.
Oh, how embarrassing.
Not a word to anyone. Understood? Not one word.
I'm told that sleeping in proper beds of your own choosing is a much more effective way to prepare for battle.
So, what were the two of you doing here?
I had a few books to return to the library. Thought I'd take care of it while I could.
And you?
Kryle's speech there makes me a little nervous. The scholar here is so good. Telling you, everything's coming up Moose House, even the gear's purple. Kyle's speech makes me nervous just because, like, it shows kind of where her tone is. Everyone else has this tone, like, what are we going to do in the future? How are we going to look forward to what's going on when this is all over? And Kryle's saying stuff from this position of, like, promising her stuff that's going to come after. So, I don't know, for some reason Kryle's tone just sounds a little more like she expects to come back less than the others. And I don't, like, it's not a prediction or anything, it's just, like, I would say she sounds a little different than Y'shtola. Part of me wants to be like, don't talk like that. Estinian in nice clothes.
Oh, what brings you here? Ah, so you were worried that the Levier household might again be gripped by turmoil. All is well, I assure you. In my letters home, I had made mention of Estinian, you see. My mother wished to meet the legend in person, and so we arranged to have a spot of tea together.
Where were you in my hour of need? Fell beasts I can face. I'm not made for idle chit-chat with lords and ladies.
Well, I for one thought you held your own. Mother was the picture of delight.
I might have been delighted myself, were we in a tavern with more agreeable drink. The thought of fleeing crossed my mind, but what then? I'd never hear the end of it, least of all from Tataru.
I'm sorry. 'Twas not my intent to cause you such distress.
Mom's got to approve of the new adopted brother.
It was one of the things I didn't want to leave undone ere we set forth. That's not to say I think we won't be returning. Yet, given what lies ahead, I did not wish to leave for later that which I could do today. After all, tomorrow is never promised.
It's fine. Not like I had better things to do. Besides, seeing you with your mother brought back fond memories of my own. Be we rich or poor, family is family. Well, it's past time we were on our way.
Wait! Since I left home, I've made a great many mistakes. Mistakes for which I can never make amends. But through it all, you didn't give up on me. To have returned here with you at my side, it means more to me than you know. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Forgive me, but it needed to be said.
I'm the one who owes you thanks. Were it not for you, I would not be alive today, nor come to terms with Nidhogg's spirit. I am ever grateful.
Well, we needn't make it a competition. You know, this must be what Hydaelyn meant when she spoke about depending on one another. However treacherous the road before us, together we will prevail.
That was sweet. Yeah, in the last quest he was honing his spear, now he's polishing his armor. To answer the question in chat, will I be streaming after the MSQ? And the answer is a resounding probably. I have to spend a lot of time this week kind of returning to normal. Returning to work and catching up on some stuff. And making sure real life is in order. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing much before then. My real life work schedule is like really, really heavy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then usually I have another day that I subject myself to in the middle of that just to make sure that I don't fall behind on anything. I usually do a home cleanup day. And I'm really hoping that I can fall into some semblance of normalcy and rhythm that will allow me the time to do at least 1 or 2 days a week doing something streaming. Just because, I mean, I'm not a professional streamer, I'm not an aspiring broadcast personality, but in terms of the stuff that I do, story-wise, community-wise, stuff like that, it turns out that there's an opportunity to engage that not just laying in bed looking at scripts, but just hanging out here looking at scripts, getting questions live instead of in my Discord DMs. We can have these conversations while we do that research, while we write those summaries, while we try to figure stuff out. We can do it in a recordable format instead of like a private one. And what I like about that is we can do it with more people. It's not like I have 20 DMs open and I'm kind of rapidly replying to them all. We can all talk to each other as we try to figure out these answers and do this research. So I'd love to hang out and play more, and especially do the stories live, just so we can all kind of reply to each other and give our live feedback. So yes, my answer is I would love to try to stream more if I can. If I can is the big thing. Oh yes, emote only is done for today just because we ran out of VIP slots. So we're gonna trust that everyone's gonna follow the rules of be kind and no spoilies. I'm gonna do whatever time will permit tonight. If I have to wait until next weekend to do post-game shit, that's just kind of what has to be done. As ever, I am pro community to the end, whatever it takes to build a nice campfire of people to enjoy the story with together. Cool view. Boy, hopping on my spaceship like the alien.
You will never get what you want. Not even the battle you pine for so dearly. In that transcendent moment, what was it that I sought in you? And what was it that you sought in me?
I did not expect to get what I wanted out of Xenos in this expansion at all. Though we've still got a little while to go. I'm so glad he didn't take up so much oxygen. He's been a very interesting part of the story so far, just kind of chilling on his own.
How often have we thus assembled? To combine our knowledge and seek solutions to the problems before us.
Back at the Waking Sands, it was all we could do to address the most minor of troubles. Who could have realized what we'd find when we began to look to the sources of the realm's woes?
At the Rising Stones, we made great strides and shared many moments, from the joyous to the sorrowful.
We've had occasion to call other places home too. Be it Ishgard or Kugane, we were fortunate to find sanctuary wherein we might take stock and continue our fight.
I was honored to host this company in the Crystarium, to stand with you all as we confronted the truth of the star itself.
And now from this place, we go to fight the most important battle of all.
The Forum has sent word. The Ark is ready. The Loporrits naturally will be commanding the vessel. They will see the 8 of you to Ultima Thule. Upon arriving, your objective is to find and vanquish Meteion. As a final formality, the Forum bade me ascertain your resolve. So, are you certain you wish to do this?
We are.
Then, ere you report to Thalmasane, I leave you with these words. You must triumph. What that means will differ for each of you. To make it back home, or to simply avert doom, or perhaps something else altogether. Yet whatever it is that drives you, I have faith in its power to see you through. So please, triumph. Triumph, as we who remain behind believe you will.
Let us be off then.
Wait! Both Kryl and I will be there to see you off, but as your receptionist, I feel I need to say this here. Safe journey, all of you, and be safe.
I'm gonna keep saying this, I think, but as a 1.0 player, I like how that fits just as well, because she was the receptionist at the original Path of the 12 entryway too. So it's like narrative symmetry. Yeah. No, I did not get any update on my pizza emote yet. I was told that I will be getting an email, but 24 hours on, no email. I assume maybe they're waiting on like business hours. We'll see. One day at a time. We'll see how spiteful I end up in the end. How does it feel knowing 14 exists because an ancient bird girl got upset? Feels okay. The sound could have been anything, literally anything. So, a bird girl creation that went out into the universe and decided life has no meaning. Good answers, any. Very Final Fantasy. Like, the sound was just such a wild card that I really think it could have been anything. And at least, yeah, I think that cutscene kind of put it in perspective that Kryl is talking like this because she's not going. That's why she's talking like this right now, it seems like. That little Sea of Stars quip is much like the airship sending me back to the, the Star Ocean vibes. Yeah, existential nihilism is always good for a Final Fantasy boss, because like what, you're supposed to bring hope for the future and faith that life is worth living. So who better to stand against that than someone who has concluded the opposite? You have mutually exclusive goals. The alternative is someone like Emmett Selk, who believes just as strongly that a different world is worth saving, a different life is worth living, and you have mutually exclusive resources. Holy shit, this is a lot of optional text. Alright, everybody. You're not named OMG, you're named Omega. Are we confirming that everybody knows you're in there? The secret's out? I still haven't seen the version of you from the benchmark yet, which makes me like, are you gonna show up later? You gonna help me out? What's going on? That'd be a twist. Power move to put you in the benchmark if that's the case, though. Alright, what does everybody got to say? Fucking hyper hopper. Gets me every time. Okay, that's everybody.
All present and accounted for? Good. As you will have heard, the Ark is ready. All that remains is to board and be on your way.
I've seen my fair share of tight schedules, but this was bloody murder. But we did it. We finished the ship. It's safe, fit for purpose, and looks good to boot. Aye, it's a Garland through and through.
I really don't know what we'd do without you. Thank you for everything.
Ah, don't mention it. Ever since that episode with Omega, I've been toying with the idea of star-faring vessels. And as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. We've learned a lot, let me tell you. In case you're wondering about payment, the ongoing existence of the world ought to do. But feel free to throw in a colorful recounting of your journey on your return. So, have you thought of a name?
A name? Wasn't everyone just calling it Father's teeny tiny toy boat?
Well, seeing as its purpose has changed, I thought a more eloquent name was in order. I suggested as much to Fortuneau, who seemed quite amenable to the idea.
As you know, this vessel is the culmination of heretofore unprecedented collaboration. And though said collaboration is owed to the Scions, there is another whose noble deeds made our work possible. From a fragment of Dalamud, we obtained not only advanced materials such as refined adamantite, but the knowledge to traverse the stars. And this fragment would not have found its way to us had the Archon Louisois not fought to protect this world, and in so doing, laid down his life. Now that the vessel stands complete, I cannot help but wonder if it was more than mere happenstance. If it was my father's intention to guide us here. In the hopes that his guidance will see you all safely home, I name the vessel after that self-same fragment of Dalamud he delivered unto us. The starship Ragnarok.
Later, LeChacha.
Sorry for the wait. I got everyone you asked for, and not a one less.
Freaking sickard.
What are you all doing here?
Oh, I invited them. The representatives of those tribes with religious inclinations. You've done a fine job of readying the Ragnarok, but for it to take flight, we'll of course need the power of the Mother Crystal. Given its immense size, however, transporting it would be an absolute logistical nightmare, not to mention we'd need to shatter it into tiny shards for feeding to the engines. But a brilliant idea came to me. We convert the crystal's energy into forms that can transport themselves!
Thou wouldst employ summoning, or should I say its precursor, creation magics.
Care to explain for our benefit?
As you may have witnessed at Bestway's Burrow, the Loporrits are capable of creation magics, which they use to shape the moon's environment. Yet simple though they make it seem, 'tis a highly advanced and exacting art. To perform it correctly requireth that the wielder holdeth the object in his mind's eye in clearest detail.
Hence the ancients' meticulous management of concepts.
Drawing upon this art, the Ascians conceived of summoning as we know it. A derivative that replaceth the complexity of concepts with the simplicity of zealotry to make manifest a creation.
I see. By combining the Loporrit's magics and the tribe's faith, we convert the Mother Crystal into primals of purer form and greater obedience. Summoning as it was intended, one might say.
Indeed! Indeed! While Hydaelyn gave us the ability to use creation magics, she forbade us from using it to make anything possessed of a soul, or similar. She didn't say anything about fulfilling the desires of others, though. So, borrowing our friend's faith, we'll create deities using the Mother Crystal's power and send them to the Ragnarok!
Am I the only one here concerned about the risk of being turned into a tempered minion?
Oh, right, I was getting to that. From what I've read in Sharlayan tomes, it appears the Ascians incorporated an additional nasty element into their summoning method. The fervent desire to assimilate others into one's belief. Beings thus created are instilled with the self-same desire and use their powers to enthrall people, starting with the summoner. In contrast, our creation magics, the original and the best, except no substitutes, don't incorporate any of that rubbish. So there's
Except
no
no
risk of tampering.
substitutes.
I mean, if the being was on the scale of Zodiac, you might feel a little tug. But I think we'll be safe enough.
Truth be told, I do not understand the intricacies of this plan. But none of us would ever turn our backs on you. When the avatars of our faith ran amok, you intervened without decrying we who birthed them. Where others vilified and suppressed us, you offered understanding and friendship. In gratitude, we will share with you the true expressions of our gods. Not malevolent deities, but benevolent saviors.
Alright, you lot, we're heading to the ethereal sea. Stay in sight, else you're liable to get lost.
Lead the way.
May we have a moment? In anticipation of the day man might journey to the stars, we developed these.
Portable teleportation devices, one for each of you, designed to work in tandem. Press the button on one, and in a matter of moments, all 8 will activate and send their owners back to the Ragnarok. There is no telling what hazards you may encounter. If you find yourself separated or lost, please do not hesitate to use them. Be safe, all of you, and come back.
You as well. I pray you take care.
Looks like everything is in order, so I'll go ahead and board. A few of my fellows will remain to assist with the summonings, but rest assured, the vessel won't want for competent crewing.
If you are ready, then you should board as well. Go, and Godspeed.
Whew. Okay. There's like a big old tempering debate going on in chat now. I'll contribute to it what I can, at least. Because that didn't really add a lot of new info. If you've been paying, like, too close attention to everything, and when I say too close, I mean reading it in every language. Because there are different clues in every language as you go along. So from the beginning, there have been multiple types of tempering that we've seen in the game. The first is when they just like huff on you. They're just like, you believe in me now. And that's like the deliberate spreading. And then there's some primals are just leaky. Like being near them for too long bends your mind to their will. And that was actually exhibited in a Beast Tribe quest a few times. Like they would drag Maelstrom soldiers out to where Leviathan had tempered people and just like leave them in the dirt, and they would eventually get corrupted. So you had like deliberate tempering, passive tempering, auric tempering, and then certain ones were the summoner. The act of summoning is what brings you into symbiosis with the thing that you're summoning. And if the magnitude of the psychic will is enough of a difference between the two of you, you'll be bent towards that too. And it didn't really matter all that much until they started really dragging the degrees of tempering into it. Because there have always been degrees. If you do like the very lightly tempered are basically sleeper agents who just take it for granted that the primal is real. And then you have your people who are like tempered almost mindless, like the mom from the Amalja Beast Tribe quest. And then you have the ones that are so tempered their physical form comes apart, like the ones in Sastasha Hard, like the crew of why is his name escaping me? Madison. So all of this kind of came to a head because Emmett Selk originally blames the summoning of Zodiark. He says that it brought the convocation into symbiosis with a psychic energy that was far beyond what they could resist. So it was inevitable that they would exist solely to quote, the whole quote was, "We exist solely to spread his darkness." That's one of the ways he describes it in one of the languages. So earlier he blamed their issue on that, like it was the difference in the psychic will. In this cutscene, we see kind of a reference to that. Like if you summon something that powerful, yeah, you'd probably go along with it. But as long as you're not weaving in the deliberately flawed exist to spread your faith element that the Asians were shoving in there, everything should be okay-ish. But the thing that they didn't, I think, address there is you're bringing it into symbiosis still, aren't you? So I assume that it's just they're doing it in a way that undermines that. I don't know. I'm going to look it up in all four languages and come back to it, because yeah, there does seem to be like a minor discrepancy there, and I'd like to know which one the truth is. But that's not uncommon for NPCs to have a discrepancy. Like, again, go back to Go back to what we just saw with the Elidibus in the tower. Like, some languages said that, like, when he was killed, he turned into mist and was sent off to oblivion. And some said that he was just sealed in the tower, and it turned out to be a little of each. That if not for the Alagon computer kind of pulling all those pieces back together and aiding him in coming together before us, that he would have drifted away into nothing. He was on his way into drift. So we can't always take what we hear completely literally to begin with when it's coming from an NPC, and especially when we only have one language to go on. So I'm just going to bookmark this as one of the things I'm looking up, is how does Living Way explain it in every language? I saw the question go by, was Yotsu tempered? Yes, but only after she did the summoning. That was the trick. Xenos knew that she was going to temper herself by sidejacking into the relic. And this was something that I think existed partly to make sense of Thornton, because Thornton was always an awkward spot. They never fully clarified what was going on there, because NPCs said all sorts of different shit. Back in the day when there were only 2 originals, and Abriales said that you needed the Echo to host a primal and become a merge of the essence of soul and primal and God, like soul and God. And then they immediately violated that with Thornton, unless Thornton was given the Echo by Elidibus and they just never really bothered to show us on screen. They've never confirmed or denied. And the one time I asked about it, they were just like, don't talk about that. So we have no idea what's really up with Thornton to a degree. And I think Tsukuyomi was a way to address those oddities in a way, because she also addressed the oddities with Susano. But yes, Yotsuyu tempered herself. In Thornton's case, since it was his idea of King Thornton that was coming through anyway, I'm not sure if it makes a practical difference, much like in the case of Elidibus. Elidibus as Zodiark's core, is he tempered, or is he just still converted into the thing everyone summoned him to be? Does it matter? I don't think practically it matters a huge difference. I don't know. We'll go back, we'll read it all, we'll see if there's any conclusive answer in the other languages in terms of what the hell's going on with that summoning spell, but Emmett does just say flat out, he tempered us, there was no other way. And he's very cool with it, but Yoshida explained that Emmett himself was pretty lightly baked. Like, he believed he was doing the right thing and he was the one true God, but other than that, he was still mostly himself and was able to act more or less as he wanted to act. More or less. Until the end, though, Elidibus is actually still pretty much what they wanted him to be. Like, when Emmett Selk said, remember us, yeah, Shtola told Elidibus that was as much a message to him as it was to everyone else. That Emmett Selk was saying that he had reconsidered the Warrior of Light as the legacy of the Ancients, and Elidibus's first reaction is just outrage. Especially in German. He's just like, yeah, if Emmett Selk said that, then he was in dire need of correction. Everyone needs to think how I say to think, and if he would go against that, he's unworthy of the name original, and if that was his last wish, I deny it. And he, like, Elidibus too, softened up in the end. We've seen probably 4 times now them look back on the original Ascian plan and just go, what folly, essentially. And they thought they were doing the right thing, is the tragedy of it. And this is what I come back to over and over with Elidibus. The greatest tragedy of Elidibus, in my humble opinion, is that he existed to bring everyone together, identify the right path forward for all, and make sure that they were on that path. And the greatest tragedy is that he ended up loyal to the spirit of Zodiark alone, even if he was that spirit. So it's a very, over the years it has shifted. There have been numerous kind of course corrections as to what means what, and we need to shift along with it. We can't take it too literally, we can't take it too rigidly, we just need to find what the truth is supposed to be today. and interpret everything else through that lens to the best of our ability. Because I don't think back then they really had a great amount of detail on what the Ascians were supposed to be. I'm going to answer one more question before we move on. This one was, how is it that every other Sundered Ascian so far looked tempered when the current Fandaniel didn't seem to be? And I can only speculate. I only have theories about this. I would speculate also that the Sundered did seem to be tempered so far. Nabriales was willing to undermine La Habrea and the mission entirely if it would just let him sit at Zodiark's right hand. If they could just be best friends, he would fuck up everything, gladly. Igiorum called him the one true god. La Habrea called him the one true god. Mitron introduces himself with, I am Mitron, servant of Zodiark. Gaia in Japanese, when she accepts herself as Logryph and we lose her for a minute and the glyph comes through, she goes as far as to say, I am Logryph reborn, priestess of the King of Precepts, which means like just loyal to Zodiark. And they didn't use it in the game, but there's actually a vocal line of Gaia screaming in Lord Zodiark's name. So I would agree that the Sundered did seem tempered until now too. Especially because Emmett said in Shadowbringers, he tempered us. So like he didn't add in any nuance for that at all. He didn't add in any explanation or trapdoor. He was just like, yeah, he did it. It was natural. I think if I were to make an excuse and speculate on why Fandaniel got away with it in the way he did today, as of today, it's that he saw himself more as Amon than he did as Fandaniel, than he did as Hermes. Because when Gaia saw herself more as Gaia than Logryph, she was able to pull herself back from it. And it really sounds like he just identified so much more with Amon than Hermes, and that might have protected him from some of the influence of Zodiark. Oh, here we go. Cutscene on cutscene on cutscene. But again, like, I'm going to repeat over and over and over again. Here's the evidence I have. If there are conflicting citations, I'm going to highlight that there are conflicting citations. I'm going to lean on here's what my gut says. But I'm never, ever going to be like, this is what it is, unless Square Enix has said so. If I ever say something that turns out to be wrong, it is a complete, like, it's an accident. Like, I inadvertently took something for granted that I shouldn't have, or something's been retconned. And retcons happen occasionally, but I don't know what the misunderstanding to retcon ratio actually is over the years. I love the Loporits so much. I love the new AF. That's why we're wearing it on the way. We're gonna honor Tataru.
I hope you have everything, because I can't be bothered turning back. Right then, make yourselves comfortable. We're setting off in just a moment.
It's incredible.
This is Fortuno. Can you hear me? The preparations for the summonings are complete. In accordance with the 14th phase of the plan, we have moved the Ragnarok to the launch site.
14, he said the number.
The gates are open. You may depart when ready.